Hello, this is Seth
and Drew, and
we are more than surviving. This is an introduction to what More Than Surviving is about
and who we are.
Hey, Seth, do you remember what your Instagram was before?
Well, when I originally started the Instagram page, I was actually trying to just post some pictures for my photography. And then I don't know, for some reason it just fell off my radar and I just wasn't really feeling it. So I didn't really do a whole lot with it. And then thankfully we came up with More Than Surviving. So the page just kind of transformed. It was really neat. Drew, do you want to tell everybody maybe a little bit about who you are?
Okay, so I'm in my 30s. I'm a college student covered with tattoos. But the best way to describe as who I am now is to describe with who I was. So a quick rundown is when I was 5 years old, I lost my mother to a domestic violence act, which meant that my father had to raise me. Well, unfortunately at the time, my father struggled with addiction. A lot of them. And that's not really easy to do when you have a child who has mental illness and they don't know what you're doing. So on top of that, struggle with my own mental illness, I ended up actually having to deal with sexual assault. And around about 24 years old, I got a huge awakening. I got the proper diagnosis. I ended up understanding that I needed to take control of my life. And that I could, no matter what anybody did to me in the past, no matter what anybody could ever say to me, is I could react to it my own way, and I could change my life into something positive and meaningful on that terms. So, Seth, tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, I grew up in Texas, and I lived between Texas and Indiana. It was in Texas that I was molested as a teenager by my stepfather, and it was a really painful experience for me. I lost a lot of family because they didn't believe me. And then I moved to Indiana to live with my dad, where, he struggled with addiction and he also struggles with mental illness. And it was really hard to kind of figure out who I was at that time because I didn't really have a lot of close support and a lot of strong female role models to live my life by. So whenever I was in college, my mental illnesses really kicked in really hard, and it just seemed to hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't really know what to do, and I really struggled. And it wasn't until I really started taking a stand for my mental health that things actually got better for me. And that's when I realized that I actually do have control here. The mental illness feels like I don't, but I actually do if I just use the tools use the tools and the resources and the support of the people around me. It made a huge difference. And that's kind of what led me to what I want to do now.
So if people don't really know, is that we actually met online. And it's kind of funny because I actually messaged Seth first.
Yes, it was on Plenty of Fish, and I remember being so happy that somebody messaged me because at the time I thought I was the only one who was willing to chat. Like, I was just messaging people wanting to make friends. I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? And nobody ever seemed to message me, and I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Like, it seemed like everybody else was really shy or something.
I remember when I first messaged her hi, but I remember actually reading her profile, and I was like, what in the world is this girl with this type of education, this type of beauty on here? I was like, she has to be fake, or she's too good for me. So I was like, you know what? And my friend convinced me, he said, just say hi. And I was like, okay. So I said hi, and we actually started talking, and it was really nice because she had a real conversation, not those people on there like, hey, how are you? Bye. It was more like, hey, what books do you like to read? What is your favorite thing to do? We ended up actually having our first date the day I actually moved up to Indiana, which was kind of cute.
Yeah, I think you were actually on your way to Indiana, and you were talking to me through the profile or through the app, and then by the time you got to Indiana, we had already talked for a few days.
Yeah, a few weeks, actually.
Or a few weeks, yeah. So then we were like, yeah, let's go on a first date. And it was funny because our first date was in a church corn maze.
So I like to tell people our first date in Indiana was in a cornfield because, bada-bum, bum, 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 bum. Love corn, though.
If any of you guys have ever been out to Indiana, then corn is,
everywhere.
corn is everywhere you go. And yeah, we got lost in the corn maze, and it was really fun, though. I thought it was really romantic. I mean, the stars were out, and we sat by this bonfire, and
it was really nice. We were stalked by a creepy child in the maze, but it was actually an epic first date, to be honest with you. And I've been really excited because from there we ended up, of course, a few months. We dated, we decided, when we were going to move in together. Then a few months after that, we moved in. And then we were like, okay, we really love to travel because, I ruined her by taking her to New Orleans for Christmas. So we got the traveling, and we just okay, we want an RV. So we bought our first RV from Chester. Remember Chester, right, babe?
Yeah, his name was Chester. He was this really sweet, good old country boy. And he was so nice, but I don't think he knew a whole lot about his RV. No. And we were definitely new to getting RVs, so we didn't even know what to look for, really. And we bought this thing for $2,000, which is
1987 40 kind of line.
Yeah, which was a huge, it was a huge leap for us, but we had some faith, and we got it. And then for any of you guys who have followed us on Instagram, you definitely were there for the whole situation with the mechanic. We had to take him to court, and that was really hard on us, but we definitely also learned that, it was just really empowering. We learned that we can stand up for ourselves, and with the right resources, we can really overcome anything.
Yeah, if you think about it, you have two women who beat a mechanic who had a lawyer, and we still won because we were actually in the right. Granted, we already remodeled the RV at this point, so we already put $7,000 into this RV. We did everything on the inside, we tore it apart, rebuilt it, and we ended up losing it, but it actually was a great thing for us because we ended up moving back to Florida. I transferred from my overly priced online school to an in-state school. I am graduating with my AA, 1 degree down, 3 to go, and I'm going on to my university, so I couldn't even be happier with that. And now we have...
Yeah, now we have this new RV, and it's a 2019. We ended up getting a great deal on this. If you're looking for RVs out there, I would definitely say online research is amazing because we found a great price on this current RV, and I think it was actually a fluke.
Mispriced.
Yeah, they accidentally put a lower price on there, and we just got a really great deal on this. And it was the exact layout that we wanted, and we still renovated the inside, which if you check out our website, it actually has a lot of pictures of us updating it.
Exactly. So pretty much what we like to tell people is that we have a kind of sort of mission statement when it comes to life. Babe?
Yeah, so our main mission for More Than Surviving is basically to inspire other people to live a life without regrets. I would definitely say that Drew and I have had our fair share full of trials and tribulations and trauma and setbacks and mental health issues and just a lot of things that, for any of us, it really can wear you down. It just makes you feel like life isn't really worth living. It's more of just a surviving game where you're going to work, you're going home, you're eating, you're sleeping, you're doing the basic stuff. And we wanted to kind of push past that and really think, just because we've gone through all these things does not mean we don't have control. We actually do. We can do more things to really make a life for ourselves.
Yeah, it's just like what I keep telling everybody that, this life is no dress rehearsal. You have to live it, otherwise you're going to miss it.
Right.
That's pretty much what we mean by it. So we definitely want to thank you so much for following our journey and listening to us ramble, because, we do ramble, and you're just going to have to understand that that's what we do sometimes. We like to go with the flow. We don't like to have a script, so it's just part of who we are. But we would love to hear from you from our website that she actually spoke about. It's called IamMoreThanSurviving.com. We would greatly appreciate any feedback, any questions you want to ask us, anything of that sort.
Yeah, if there's any specific topics that you guys are wondering about, just, let us know, and we'd be more than happy to, just kind of bring that back to our lives and how we've experienced it, and hopefully shed some insight on you. And then if you have any, words of wisdom that you'd love to share with us, we would love to hear that. So just stay tuned for our next episode where we'll talk more about more than surviving.
Have a good night.